Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel where stories are told to promote mental health. What we're going to be speaking about today is something that we've actually forgotten about, but we shouldn't. Because it's pretty important after all. Because every single year this one thing impacts more people than the population of Newcastle. And if this problem was solved, every single year the UK government could buy Philippe Coutinho 7 times over. That means over a 10-year span, the UK government could buy 70 Philippe Coutinhos. Now that's a lot of Philippe Coutinhos. But I'm sure you could probably spend about 700 billion plus on much better things, such as, I don't know, like buying Buckingham Palace times 40. Or 200 of the world's most expensive private jets. By this point, you're probably wondering, what on earth am I chatting about? Well, I'm talking about this, which is the Thriving at Work report, written by Dennis Stevenson and Paul Farmer and published in October 2017. And this report is all about, and I quote, how employers can better support the mental health of all people currently in employment, including those with mental health problems or poor well-being, to remain and thrive through work. I honestly don't think Mr. Farmer and Mr. Stevenson, the authors of this report, had any idea of the can of worms that they would open by digging deep into this. And I think the findings that they discovered truly shocked them, because they discovered that 3,000 people with long-term mental health conditions lose their jobs every single year. 15% of people at work have symptoms of existing mental health conditions, and poor mental health costs the UK economy, and wait for it, between 74 and 99 billion pounds per year. So that's why all those Philippe Coutinho things were mentioned beforehand, just to give you an example of the scale and the magnitude of how much this costs the economy. Now we know there is an issue, now we know there is a problem that we need to solve. How are we going to address it? What is the next step? How are we going to reduce all of those figures? The authors of this report highly recommend that the public sector, the private sector, and all sectors that have a working environment adopt these recommendations, and they are: produce, implement, and communicate a mental health at work plan. Develop mental health awareness amongst employees. To encourage open conversations about mental health and support employees when needed. To provide employees with good working conditions and make sure they have a good work-life balance and opportunities to progress and develop within their roles. To promote effective people management through line management and supervisors. And last but by no means least, to routinely monitor the mental health and well-being of all employees. I honestly couldn't agree more with the recommendations that Mr. Farmer and Mr. Stevenson have proposed. And I don't think anyone will deny that we need to have more mental health awareness and we need to have more training, and businesses need the tools and the knowledge to deal with the mental health of their employees. I don't think anyone denies that. But there are a couple of things that I think need to also be resolved that haven't been touched upon in this report per se. And I think, well, first of all, there's a big debate if it gets funding anyway. I feel like the government aren't funding many things these days, so I don't know if they're actually going to provide the funding required for those small and medium-sized businesses to adopt this mental health at work plan which has been suggested. But I think another fundamental issue is that we are different in the workplace. We have our personal life and we have our professional life. And if in your personal life you find it difficult to be open and honest about how you feel, and you struggle to speak about your mental health, then how are you going to have that one-to-one conversation with your line manager when you struggle to say that to your best friend? And I think that is a really big issue. So I think it's all well and good having these big macro plans to improve the mental health in the workplace, but how about if you bring it down to the personal level? Like even me, for example, I do not have the confidence to sit down with my line manager and be completely open with her about the work that I'm doing, about the current state of my well-being. And there's been times when I've been in work and I've hardly focused and I can't put my attention towards anything because I feel so down. Because in the workforce, you have a job to do. You are paid to carry out a task that will then bring value to your company. And if you don't do that, you're just a broken cog in that machine. And I think the pressure of performing well and the pressure to meet your own standards can sometimes be overwhelming. And the last thing that you want to do in the workforce is show a weakness, because you want a promotion, you want a pay rise, you want to progress in your career, you want to be the best version of yourself. And I think we need to address that on an individual level. We need to feel as employees comfortable to speak up about our mental health, and we have to know that if we are open and honest about how we feel, that will not affect our career progression, that will not affect the pay rises that we're entitled to, that will not affect the bonuses that we might have if your company gives bonuses, and we need that reassurance. I also think there's another really important reason why mental health in the workplace is as shocking as these foundings have discovered. And I think that is a lot of people aren't fulfilled in their jobs, and I think that is the blunt reality of it. I think a lot of us go to work just to get the paycheck to fuel the life that we live outside of our work, but actually between the 9 to 5 hours that you're in 5 days a week, that we can be miserable and we can be sad and feeling like we don't have a purpose and feeling like we're not learning, and we get comfortable. Like, I don't think humans are designed to sit behind a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and to have 2 days of fun on the weekends. I think the system itself is wrong, and I feel like in order to improve the mental health in our workplace, I think something fundamentally has to change within the working environment. I don't know, maybe work one less day a week, maybe work shorter days. I don't know, but I think if one of those things were adopted, I honestly believe we would see a huge shift in the mental health of our nation. Sorry, I get a bit animated when I'm speaking about this because I think it's such an important issue, and I really hope that the recommendations in this report are going to be adopted by the government. I really hope that small businesses and medium-sized businesses are going to have the tools and the equipment to nurture and support the mental health of their employees. And I truly hope that everyone in this sector, private, public, what have you, put mental health for their employees as number one, because an organisation is nothing without the people that are in it. So that is everything for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would love to hear what you think. Like, how do you think we can improve the mental health of our workforce? Please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And whilst you're there, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you at my next video.